The Medic's Miracle. A Soul Saved in the Snow. The Ardennes forest in late 1944 was a frozen hell where the wind cut deeper than a bayonet. Among the chaos of the retreating lines was a medic named Elias, a man who carried a heavy bag of bandages instead of a rifle. He had sworn an oath to save lives. A task that seemed impossible as the sky turned black with smoke and the ground shook from the constant thud of heavy artillery. One evening, while searching a collapsed barn for survivors, Elias found a soldier pinned under a fallen timber. The man was a young paratrooper, barely conscious, his uniform soaked in blood that was quickly freezing in the sub-zero air. Elias knew that moving him alone was a death sentence, but leaving him was a fate he couldn't accept. With the sound of enemy patrols drawing closer, Elias began the grueling task of digging the boy out with his bare, numb hands. For hours, Elias worked in the dark, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Every time a flare lit up the sky, he froze, pressing his body into the cold mud to avoid detection. He finally managed to free the soldier, but the boy's heartbeat was fading. Elias didn't have a fire to warm him or a bed to lay him on. He only had his own body heat. He wrapped his coat around both of them and whispered stories of a warm summer back in Kentucky to keep the boy's mind from slipping into the dark. At dawn, a stray American patrol stumbled upon the barn. They found Elias slumped over the paratrooper, his arms locked around him in a frozen embrace. At first, the patrol thought both men were dead, but as a medic reached down, Elias opened his eyes bloodshot and weary, but alive. The paratrooper stirred too, saved by the warmth of a man who refused to let the winter claim another victim. Elias was evacuated and sent home, his hands scarred forever by the frostbite of that night. He never received a medal for what happened in that barn, because there were no officers there to witness it. But years later, a man walked up to Elias's front porch in America, carrying a cane and a small box of chocolates. It was the paratrooper, now a father of 3, who had spent a decade searching for the medic who gave him his life back. They sat on the porch in the warm afternoon sun, a stark contrast to the frozen forest they had left behind. They didn't talk about the battles or the killing. They talked about the families they were able to raise, because one man chose to stay when the world told him to run. Elias realized then that his greatest victory wasn't surviving the war, but ensuring that his humanity survived it with him.